are going to get started with our Creating Engaging Videos, Everything You Need to Know to Produce Authentic Content Across Channels session. We are really excited to be partnering with ReadySet for this session today. And so John and Kelsey, you are welcome to join me on stage. Awesome. Well, we are going to go right ahead and get started. Hello, John.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Great.
Awesome. Well, really excited to have you. All right, so we're going to get started first with some logistics for those who may be joining or weren't with us in the beginning of the last session. So the first question that's on everyone's minds, the recording and slides for all of our sessions today will be in your inbox by tomorrow morning. Once that video processes, we'll make sure that you all have those so that you don't miss any of the content and can refer back. Also, you can log back in anytime with the same link that's been in your inbox and the calendar hold. We also have lots of great resources in our handout section, so make sure to download our 2022 marketing guides. We also, as many of you all have already, you can come and please make sure to join our chat. You can introduce yourselves, also ask questions for our speakers that will queue up for our Q&A at the end of the session today. And then finally, make sure to join our poll questions. We will also have one that if you're interested in talking with our teams after the session today, we would love to be able to do so, to talk about how you can improve your video across social channels. I'll also introduce myself. My name is Carrie Mallett. I am the Senior Content Specialist for Webinar here at Tenuity, and I'll be hosting our webinar today. So first, a little about Tenuity. Here at Tenuity, we've mastered the media that matters most. We're the largest independent performance marketing firm across streaming TV and the triopoly of Google, Facebook, and Amazon. At Tenuity, we understand that success requires both strategy and channel specialization. That approach wins us awards and recognition across the industry, such as the American Business TV Awards and the Shorty Awards, and allows us to grow some amazing clients like those that you see here. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Kelsey and John to introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Kelsey Miller. I'm a director of paid social. I've been working in the paid social space for a little over 8 years now at a mix of creative and media agencies.
Awesome. And Kelsey, it doesn't look like your camera's on. I don't know if you're able to toggle it on.
Oh, strange. I will investigate that as John introduces himself.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. I'm John Gargiulo. I'm the co-founder and CEO of ReadySet. Prior to ReadySet, I spent a few years at Airbnb leading parts of marketing there. So I come from the creative production side of the world, and we make a lot of net new video ads for Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and connected TV.
We're so excited to have you with us today, John, and really excited to have your expertise along with Kelsey as well. So going to run through our agenda of what we're going to be covering today. First, we're going to talk through some trends that we're seeing in the paid social video landscape, and then what the end of social cut downs, how to design for each social platform, what that should look like, 4 frameworks that you can use, and then expert tips on creating great videos. And a quick note before I go off stage, Kelsey, I think maybe it might be if you just go to the gear icon at the top of your screen, hopefully that can toggle your camera on. All right, so we'll give it one more sec to see if we can get Kelsey's camera working. If not, we'll just go ahead and do her audio only. Awesome, so I'm gonna go off stage and are you good to take it over, Kelsey?
It seems like it's not letting me toggle any other camera, so apologies if I am just a speaking voice for everyone on the line. But let's dive into a few trends in the paid social space. Carrie, we may have lost the deck briefly. There we go.
It's back now, my apologies.
No worries. Awesome. So to kick it off, really want to ground us in just the importance of your social, especially across paid social channels, as we've all had a major shift in the social landscape, over the past 2 years with privacy changes, with increased competition. Really, creative is more important than ever. So the latest Nielsen study revealed that up to 63% of your performance lift can be allocated directly from the quality of your creative. as much as I would love to do this without slides, it will probably be more helpful for all of you for me to pause.
Apologies, my going off stage toggled it off. We are going to be all set in just 1 second. All right, and I won't be going off stage. There we go.
Awesome, thanks so much. Couple more stats for you before I get into a few case studies. So as I just mentioned, creative is your #1 lever, and advertisers are investing more heavily in it year over year. So there's going to be across the space a 20% increase in spend across your paid social video, which then brings it to about 1 in every 10 ad dollars. So definitely an area where we see brands upping their investment. We're seeing consumers engaging with it more, and should definitely be a focus of your 2022 advertising and approach. So into some of my favorite elements, some case studies, some proof points of really where we should be focusing our attention as we talk about social video. And of course, the mobile canvas is vertical. And really, as you're creating, be nimble with how you're creating that vertical video. I think this example to the right is really impactful with a stacked square that can be easily run across your feed placements as a square, but then doubled up to work across your stories and reels. And really what we see is that shift from a horizontal video into a square and vertical really drives a lift in that return on ad spend. So it's certainly something that you want to think about, is designing for placement customization across the Meta platforms, Facebook and Instagram, to really maximize those DR results. Awesome. And of course, the meteoric rise of TikTok has certainly created a big shift in what these videos look like. So really, we're seeing brands gravitate away and consumers gravitate away from these very high production, glossy editorial videos and towards these authentic, lower production testimonials. So where they feel like they're really getting advice from someone that they can trust, an expert in this space. And so what we see across our client base is a 40% higher click-through rate when you're leaning into those user-generated or testimonial videos. So definitely an area to test into this year. As well as participatory ad types. So ways to get users really engaged with your campaign. This could look like a TikTok hashtag challenge. It could be a Snapchat AR lens to really help, jumpstart spend on a platform. This is a really impactful way to up the engagement. And if you're testing into TikTok in particular, what we see is really aligning with a trending topic across TikTok and creating that custom music to go along with your hashtag challenge is the best way to drive engagement and participation. Awesome. And my final trend to cover off with you all is, of course, influencers and creators. And I think traditionally, many brands think about influencers as really a way to drive awareness for their brand. But what we've seen is they can absolutely have a full funnel impact. It's all about how you're positioning the influencer, showcasing those product shots, and that clear branding alongside of the talent can be a really impactful way to drive that higher purchase consideration lift. So definitely test pairing those influencer videos and influencer content alongside some of your branded shots to really create this wonderful blend of the two, but also drive that down funnel purchase or subscription. Awesome. Moving into our second section, which I love to call the end of social cutdowns, which I know can be a scary statement, but we really see a fantastic performance lift from really designing for each of these paid social platforms and being intentional about what we're serving across each of these. So before I dive in, a quick poll for you all that we'd like you to answer in the chat. Let us know what social platforms you're currently spending on. Is it your bread and butter Facebook, Instagram? Are you guys spending across Snapchat, Pinterest, TikTok, or even Reddit? Definitely let us know so we can also ground some of our conversation as well as our recommendations in those channels. Seeing a lot of Facebook and Instagram. I'm not terribly surprised by that.
Sarah, I want to hear what you're doing on TikTok. Anyone who's had success on TikTok, which has just been absolutely blasting off the last 4 to 6 months, yeah, be proud and let us know why and what you're doing with it.
Awesome. I'm also seeing a lot of people with a lot of paid social diversification, which, as you've just heard Avi speak to, is so, so crucial. So kudos to those of you that are on, 3+ channels. I know it's a lot to manage. It's a lot of creative to plan for. But thank you so much for letting us know. This is super helpful. And let's dive into the end of social cutdown. So first and foremost, to design with the platform focus, and certainly want to just provide a bird's eye view of what and how all of these videos could look so different but be impactful across each of these. So what you're seeing across Snapchat with that short GIF looks very different than the UGC content that you see to the right on TikTok. And of course, Pinterest being a planning platform, so, so crucial to lean into those styling videos like we see with this Ethan Allen example. So it really is really important to understand how users are engaging with each of these platforms so you can tailor your messaging approach accordingly. So digging into a few recommendations for how to think about your creative messaging strategy across each of these. I would say the biggest shift across Facebook and Instagram, of course, is these new placements that are emerging, whether that be Reels or the rise of stories in the past couple of years. And it's interesting, we're seeing a bit of a shift to how users are consuming that content. So in feed, we're seeing a lot of brands succeed with still that editorial, high production video, whereas on stories and Reels, we're seeing those placements trend towards what's emerging on TikTok. So the influencer-driven, entertainment-focused videos can perform really, really well across those. So again, the placement customization, where you can say, serve this video across feed placements, serve this across stories and Reels, becomes really crucial as you're really looking to start to tailor some of that messaging. And then jumping out of the metaverse into some of these other platforms, TikTok, of course, is so top of mind for most advertisers last year as well as this year. This is really where we're seeing music forward, trend forward messaging really resonate. We're seeing that videos that sit in that 15 to 20-second video tend to perform best, but that is just a rule of thumb for some brands. They're doing really well with longer videos, even beyond that. But most importantly, it's a sound on environment, and it's one where influencer content tends to feel the most native. So we always suggest that brands are consistently testing their branded videos against influencer and UGC. And then jumping into Pinterest, this is certainly a visual planning platform. So it's one where text overlays are highly encouraged, but really that how-to content, how to style something, leaning into those micro moments and holidays tend to really thrive. And then on Snapchat, this is one where users are consuming content extremely quickly. And so it's so crucial to really boil down your messaging point into one key message that you want users to walk away from. Again, you can think about video as GIF and lightweight video here, because you really only have a couple seconds of attention. And here, UGC content really thrives. Don't overly produce your videos because things that seem most native and like what you're sending to your friends and family across other snaps is kind of what you want to mimic in your advertising across Snapchat. So as we think about tailoring your message by each platform, there's also placements that we want to tailor that with. And so on the right, you have a list of some of the many placements that you can really take advantage of as you're moving users down the marketing funnel. So from an awareness perspective, it's really going to be about brand education, about a product overview. You want to lean into some of those placements like Instagram Reels, Snapchat commercials, Pinterest Max with video. And then as you're moving them into consideration, it's all about the brand differentiators. What makes you different from the competition? You want to build up trust with your potential new customers. You want to feature new product lines. And this is where we get into some of those link page posts, carousels, as well as Pinterest video pins. And then finally, really driving that end conversion and purchase. This is where we want to really hit home any promotions, any final reasons to buy, get really specific with product benefits. And this is also where you'll be looping in some of your cart abandoners to re-engage them. And we want to really be leaning into your feed-based ad units here. So that could look like your dynamic product ad carousels, collection units, leaning into some of the TikTok shops and emerging shopping ads across those channels. And then with this, and Carrie, I might need a click to get this built. We want to be making sure that we're aligning the right KPIs. So these are just a few. Of course, you want to tailor that to your business, but really moving from brand lift as well as reach on awareness, then driving into efficient website traffic across consideration, and finally really driving home that ROI, that return on investment, as well as your purchase conversion rate or subscription conversion rate, depending on your business. So another quick poll for you all. This one will be in the poll section of the webinar platform. But before I hand it over to John, we'd love to hear, what is your biggest challenge in developing paid social creative? Is it a lack of internal resources? Is it a lack of knowledge about social platform best practices? Or is cost prohibitive? And we'll give you a little bit of time to answer. And thank you all for the amazing engagement already today. John, I'm seeing things shift. It started off from a lack of platform best practices, and now we're seeing more internal resources as the main blocker.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't have, I don't know if I've met a company that said, I have all the internal resources I need. I'm great. I don't need to hire anybody. So I'm not surprised that's a popular answer. I'm guessing for a lot of people, there's probably multiple results here they would pick, if not all of them. Cool. Should we plow ahead? Awesome. So I wanted to talk about 4 frameworks each of you could walk away with for how to build video ads that work, particularly on Facebook and Instagram. First one's called problem solution. You may have heard of this one. It's been around for 60 years. It's a huge stalwart of the direct response world. Show the problem, show how your product is the solution. Second is, we call it a desirable situation. Showing an unbelievable looking coffee drink that I want in front of me right now. Give you some more examples later, but that one's pretty self-explanatory. The third we call useful information delivered uniquely. If you found yourself in your TikTok feed or on Instagram watching a long form video where you're learning something new, they do call it news feed. After all, you're getting some news, even if it's delivered by a product. That's useful information delivered uniquely. And lastly, flip the script. This is like, the world is not what you thought. The classic examples are, you're boiling pasta all wrong. Believe it or not, a lot of people are like, okay, I thought pasta is pretty easy to boil, but let me stick around for 3 more seconds and see if I might learn something here. So we'll talk more about that as well. Awesome. Let's start with desirable situation. This is about making the situation that your product or brand creates look as desirable as possible. I would love for my abs to look like that. I would love to make delicious looking salmon burgers. We have a lot of food clients at ReadySet, and we shoot a lot of food. The key to making those ads hits is just making it look amazing. Macro, super close-up shots, that kind of thing. Think of the coffee that we just saw. And another important thing in 2022 is accessible and easy as well. So when we say desirable situation, don't think red 8K camera, perfect lighting, $100,000 shoot of my product or service. It ought to look real. And that blend of a desirable situation but looking real and attainable is where the magic is. I know these photos can be hard to look at, but we're talking about what works here, not what's going to go to Cannes and win a Cannes Lion, and showing a problem that people can relate to. With almost any problem, the vast majority of folks on this call maybe can't relate. But you're not after those folks. You're not after 95% of people who are going to see your ad. You're after the 5% of that million impressions, those 50,000 people that might have that specific problem and see themselves and can relate to that problem as it's shown on the screen. This is why showing, and these are pretty extreme examples, but this is why showing sort of extreme examples can be compelling for people. One thing I'll say here is, don't jump to the solution too soon. In some cases, you don't even have to jump to the solution at all, just by virtue of being there. And folks assuming, well, okay, I'm sure this is an ad. I'm sure this thing solves for the problem that they're outlining is enough. What we find doesn't work so well is, I'm tired of my bottom jacked up teeth. That's why I got Smile Direct Club. It's really amazing. And let me tell you about it. Like, you lose them right away. So really present the problem in a relatable way. Take your time with it. Especially on TikTok, we're seeing these personal stories go for 10, 15 seconds before weaving in the product and the solution at all. Try to weave in a lot of my statements, not a lot of you've got to try it. It'll be great for you. Just on that tip real fast, I read a great blog post recently about this executive was saying, I don't give advice. I just talk about my experience. If you've ever had a boss say to you, hey, you should do this or that. Oh, you're having that problem. You really need to do this or that. And just call so-and-so. Think of how that feels when I'm saying that. It's like, what? You're telling me what to do. I can figure it out. Whereas if the person says, I had this problem once and I called so-and-so and they got it fixed for me, much more palatable. So same thing with ads. If you show a real person and their personal experience that they're going through, that's enough. And that's much more relatable and comfortable and a lot less like an ad and a lot more clickable. Third is useful information delivered uniquely. TikTok is amazing at this. I think I was just watching the TikTok CEO last night and said their mission is unlocking creativity and bringing joy. I thought that was a really nice way to encapsulate TikTok. Another thing is I learned a lot from TikTok. There's just, it is really useful information delivered uniquely in many cases. It is in a funny masked way, kind of like a news feed. Just random example. I was just thinking yesterday, a young woman posted like what it's like actually studying at Harvard. And she's like, here's the study hall. But if you look over here, there's a 200-year-old incredible library. And like, let's walk around. That's useful information. That wasn't an ad per se. But 4 hacks to, saving money on your car insurance, things like that. People want to know this information. And try to, use memes, use charismatic people. Just ask yourself simply, am I delivering this information in a unique, fun way, or am I talking at somebody and lecturing? This is my favorite one. We call flip the script. The world's not what it seems. Fish this good doesn't come from a farm. This was a huge hit ad that we had for a wild salmon subscription box. I consider myself a sort of a foodie, I think. I go to the Safeway, I grab the salmon, it says farm raised. I've never thought much of it. What do you mean, fish this good doesn't come from a farm? Where does it come from? Like, all you need is that extra couple seconds to get folks to hang around. Not just anybody. Most people in this call probably are not that into a salmon subscription box. Don't worry about them. You just care about the folks that were just talking with their girlfriend or boyfriend about, let's get some more fresh food in here. I want to try to eat more sustainable things. This is a great way to hook them. Humor is often a good thing to weave in here. Snarkiness really resonates, especially with Zoomers and millennials. Some more tips. Be specific, be unique, be interesting. Really keep up with what's going on. Like one of the folks in the chat, which please keep the chat going. It was awesome and lively to hear all of your stories and share them with each other on this call. Mentioned, oh shoot, I lost it. But POV ads. Yeah, which I started to see, and I didn't even get at first in my TikTok feed that it was like, the first one I saw was like POV, getting my burrito my way at Moe's Southwest Grill. And it was just walking into the store and like jump cutting to the burrito being made and, give me that guacamole and things like that. And then I saw a couple more and I'm like, oh, this is a new thing. Keep up with that stuff. You don't want to be the brand that's doing the thing from a year and a half ago. You do want to be the brand that's right on top of the new, interesting stuff that's going viral on these platforms. Be able to pivot very quickly. And UGC, that also came up in the chat. just emotional realness, authenticity. If there's one thing you take away from this call on how to make a hit ad, it's watch your UGC footage coming in for those little moments. It might be 43 minutes of a talent working with your product, talking through his or her difficulties and why they found it and how it's helped them and changed their life. You just need that like 3 to 5 second bit that feels really, really real, really not like reading a line off of an iPhone. Don't underestimate that. It can be extremely powerful. Doesn't have to mean like, overacting or tears or anything crazy. This is actually kind of an intense example. Just means to be like, I was really embarrassed by my teeth. I would go to parties and have trouble smiling because I was always thinking about it. Like those are real moments. That's what you're looking for. That's where the gold is when it comes to performance. Yeah, cadence, keep the ad moving. Think in microseconds. If you're watching one of your edits and you notice to yourself, I already read this super fast and I probably read it in half a second and it's been lingering on the screen for an extra 20 frames or 2/3 of a second, cut that 20 frames. Keep it feeling to you like you can keep up with it. You've probably seen some really awesome direct response vertical video ads on TikTok and Instagram that are flying along. And you might have noticed, wow, this is like moving really fast and this copy's all up here really quickly, but I bet you're actually reading it. People read super fast, even if you don't catch every single word. So keep it moving, avoid boring visuals, keep action. For example, you'll start to notice like whip pans, right? Just simple things like that in thumb stoppy openers, which is the most important part of the ad, where an iPhone just kind of whips from my wall to my face and then said, guys, let me just tell you the secret that I finally cracked when it comes to X. Just that versus staring at my face and staying it pure can be a big difference. Awesome. Before we jump into the checklist, one thing I want to really emphasize, Facebook's marketing science team pegs the time you have to capture attention at 1.56 seconds. Really keep that in mind. Next time you're looking at one of your ads and it's like hanging on some maybe overly pitchy super about how you're going to love this blah, blah, blah for 3.5 seconds, just remember, whoa, what do I have in that first 1.5 seconds? Because people are gone. What's compelling? Is it an I, my statement? Is it personal? Does it feel like an organic post almost? Really, if you focus on one thing with all this, focus on that first 1.5 seconds. And good luck. Kelsey, you want to start talking through this one?
It looks like we might be having an audio snafu.
Sure.
Kelsey.
Okay, I can run through this.
Awesome.
Yeah, Kelsey, just let me know if you come back online. So check out the ad libraries. If you're wondering, like, what does good look like? I want to know. Good news. Here, I'll find it and put it in the chat. TikTok has a top ads section. Facebook, no other platform has anything like this. You can literally sort. I just put it in the chat. You can literally sort what are the top spending ads on TikTok in the last 30 days, and it will tell you. I would recommend you look at like conversions and check on a couple of those filters. Facebook, of course, the ad library. Just Google Facebook ad library if you haven't experienced it yet. Go search your competitors, see what they're running, see what's popping up a lot in their libraries. That's probably working. And yeah, aligns the right platform to the right placement. If you're doing stuff for stories or reels or TikTok, it ought to be 9:16 tall vertical. If you're doing stuff for feed on Facebook, we find that 4:5s, a little taller than square, work best. This is a great checklist just to make sure you're doing what you need.
Awesome. And then Kelsey, I think your audio might be able to come back on if you want to name anything in the checklist. So we will go right into our close out our session. And so for our audience, the poll is currently open. If you, after walking through all things video and vertical video and how to make sure that you are doing well across different platforms, and also what some of those frameworks look like. I know I love seeing what, the different problem solution and keeping the audience on their toes. Our teams would love to be able to continue the conversation after the session today. And so you can let us know in the poll. It's currently open in the dashboard. And so you can toggle over from chat to polls right now and be able to respond there. And then glad to hear from everyone that the session was useful. And so we are a little short on time for the session, but we'll go just with one question for the Q&A because Stephen had a question that I thought was really interesting, which was how do you social media market something that's maybe more mundane, like a graphic t-shirt or swimwear? Which framework would you say is best suited?
Yeah, good question. We've worked with a lot of fashion brands. Swimwear, I don't know why the brand Andy jumps to mind. They do a nice job on paid social. Third Love bras, they do a nice job as well. It's definitely possible. Beta brand is another one you could check out, Stephen. In terms of a framework to use, I think if your stuff is nice and unique, and I'm sure it is, I would probably try Desirable Situation. Mm-hmm. When you have a lot of products, if you have a long range of products, which many of you probably do, we find almost universally that showing, look at all these awesome products we have, and here's our company, and come check it out, does not perform. Pick that gateway product, pick that awesome graphic tee that's like your top seller, put that out front and center, do some flat lays, do some, people wearing it that look like you want to be like. That's what I would recommend.
Awesome. Thank you, John. All right. And so I'm going to push out a link as we go into a quick transition so that we have lots of great resources on our Tenuity Content Hub. And so you can click the link in the bottom left in order to go to it and take a look at even more resources, including not just social advertising, but video as well. So sincerely want to thank Kelsey and John, and thank you, Kelsey, also for pushing through some tech challenges and for our audience as well. And so we're going to go into a minute break, and we'll be back in just a minute or so with our session with Reddit about contextual targeting in a post-privacy world. So look forward to seeing everyone in just a minute or so. And thanks again, John.
Thanks, Carrie. Bye, everyone. Good luck.
Thanks all, and thanks, Kelsey.